Hey, did you film that?
Are you okay?
Temu, the overseas counterpart of China's Pinduoduo, promotes itself as a platform for high-quality products at low prices, but many customers are frustrated comparing their shopping experience to unboxing a giant mystery box. What should you buy on Temu to avoid making a mistake? I saw a netizen just bought a fan and it literally left the house without looking back. Can't even call it back. It's honestly both hilarious and frustrating. And they're saying they will never buy anything on Temu again. Another netizen bought a sofa and it's so small it might only be good for playing house with kids. It's just ridiculous. Temu's new scam. I bought a tea set and cups for $5.80 on Temu and this is what I got.
I need it on my desk now! Woo! This viral sharer has got hundreds of followers asking me to review. That says whether it's peanuts or sunflower seeds. Just give it a crank, this gadget will completely separate the kernels from the shells. Alright, let's now test. Now super fast. I did some more tests. If you put peanuts in, it gets extremely hard to crank, like it's falling apart. And it doesn't really separate the kernels from the shells. This is trash. Do not buy it.
Another user shared their disappointment after waiting 2 weeks for a milk frother they ordered to make lattes only to receive an entirely different product than what was expected. What they thought would be a bargain on Temu, promising to elevate their online shopping experience, quickly turned into a letdown. The product that looked charming and well made in the picture turned out to be poorly crafted and made from cheap materials. I hate small things more than anything. This is my first time buying from Temu and it'll definitely be my last. I'm hosting a birthday party this Saturday and thought I'd get some cheap decorations from Temu since they're way overpriced in Copenhagen. I just got the package today and when I opened it, well, it wasn't that the items were missing or anything, they were all there, but everything was just a size smaller. Look at this cup I bought. It's so small you can't even drink a shot from it. And this happy birthday ornament, look how tiny it is. Where did this junk come from? It's barely the size of my palm. I thought the picture made it look bigger. The worst part, I bought 2 headbands and they look really nice in the photo. I thought, oh, they might just be low quality, but what did I get? Excuse me, is this even what I ordered? Look at this. Tell me, am I supposed to show up at my birthday party with this on just to become a laughingstock in all of Copenhagen? And I bought a pump and the picture showed it was huge, but it is just a size smaller. I really hate small things. I'll never say that Pinduoduo's quality is bad again. Temu really disappoints. It's just every item you buy is a surprise. One user commented and said, I suggest you take some comparison photos and let all of Scandinavia know that there's a store specializing in miniature custom items. Another user joked, I think we can laugh about this. Let's make the theme of our party Thumbella Fairy Tale, and it might even become a hit in our friend group. Some international Temu buyers have also expressed frustration after receiving their products, not knowing whether to laugh or cry under the situation. Despite the complaints from a consumer perspective, the stark contrast between buyers' photos and sellers' photos have drawn attention to Pinduoduo's management strategy and its expansion. It also shifts focus on the recent development regarding the wealth of the company's founder, Huang Zhen. In a surprising turn of events, Huang Zhen's wealth, which was once firmly placed among China's internet billionaires, has seen a noticeable decline. On March 27, 2025, the WHO-run Global Rich List, an annual ranking of the world's wealthiest individuals, was released, placing Pinduoduo's founder Huang Zhen at 39th place worldwide with a wealth of 265 billion yuan, about $36.3 billion US dollars, a drop of 15 spots from the previous year. His wealth has decreased by 120 billion yuan, about $16.5 billion US dollars compared to 2024. According to WHO-run, Huang Zhen's wealth was fluctuated dramatically, like an elevator ride. It went from the 50th floor to the 90th floor and back to the 50th floor. Last year, his wealth increased by 160 billion yuan, about $21.9 billion US dollars, but this year it dropped by 120 billion yuan, which is about $16.5 billion US dollars. On March 20th, Pinduoduo released its financial report for the fourth quarter of 2024 and the full 2024 fiscal year. The company reported an annual revenue of 393.8 billion yuan, a 59% increase year-on-year, with a net profit attributable to ordinary shareholders of 112.4 billion yuan, which is an increase of 87%. While these figures still look strong, they show a slowdown when compared to the 89.7% growth rate in revenue in 2023. A more telling sign is the quarter-by-quarter slowdown. Revenue growth was 131% in the first quarter, 86% in the second, 44% in the third, and just 24% in the fourth. This steady decline resembles a trajectory of a falling object, initially accelerating, then losing momentum, and eventually slowing down. The net profit growth rate also dropped from 246% in the first quarter to just 18% in the fourth quarter, almost resembling a steep drop. Regarding the slowing growth, Pinduoduo executive mentions during the third quarter earning call last year that the slowdown in revenue growth was inevitable due to increased market competition. This situation brings to mind Pinduoduo's rise a few years ago. Around 2020, major e-commerce platforms like Taobao, Temu, JD.com, and various vertical e-commerce businesses had already captured most of the urban user market, which was the very space Pinduoduo began to dominate. Amidst the competition from traditional e-commerce giants, Pinduoduo quickly captured the lower tier market by leveraging its group buying, cutting a price, and hot product strategies. This allowed them to appeal even to older generations who had little interest in e-commerce. The rapid growth of Pinduoduo was impressive, and Huang Zhen was once hailed as a legendary founder. But like all stories of rise and fall, wealth can disappear quickly in the capital markets. The key is understanding what happened behind the scenes. Analysts argue that when looking at Huang Zhen's wealth loss, it's important to consider the complex market competition, changes in the international regulatory environment, and deeper policy factors. First, the economic environment has contributed to the roller coaster ride of Pinduoduo and Huang Zhen's wealth. After the pandemic, global economic recovery has been slow and consumer purchasing power has generally decreased. Inflation in the US and Europe, along with interest rate hikes, has made the e-commerce industry more cautious. Traditional retail giant and established e-commerce platforms are better positioned due to their solid business structures and supply chains. Smaller and emerging platforms, in contrast, need to invest heavily in subsidies and marketing to attract new users. However, without sustained momentum or the ability to build user loyalty, these platforms may eventually face market stagnation. The international version of Pinduoduo, which is Temu, is also facing significant challenges. As the domestic e-commerce market reached saturation, Pinduoduo shifted its focus to international markets. In July 2020, Huang Zhen stepped down as CEO to focus more on global expansion. In 2022, Temu was launched in the US, where it made a big splash by offering low prices and attracting young consumers with attention-grabbing marketing tactics. However, Temu is facing stiff competition in the US from powerful rivals like Shein and Amazon. Shein, with its fast fashion model, has already captured a large share of the market, while Amazon leverages its infrastructure and brand strength. Starting in the second half of 2024, Temu saw a strong pushback from both Shein and Amazon. Shein continues to attract young American consumers with ultra-low prices and a strong fashion appeal, with Amazon solidifies its lead with fast prime delivery and excellent customer service. For Temu to carve out a space in the US market, it must excel in cost, quality, and logistics. However, Western consumers tend to have high expectations for product quality and service, and Temu's model of offering vast amounts of low-priced goods is often questioned on social media. Some users have reported receiving products of varying quality, while others complained about slow shipping or poor after-sales service. Overall, there has been a significant amount of criticism and frustration.
拼多多受害者海外版
The overseas version of Pinduoduo's victims being scammed in China is one thing, but being scammed overseas is just crazy. At least in China, you can return the stuff and get your money back, but what do I do overseas? I bought all this junk. What am I supposed to do with it? Why is the quality like this and the smell is so strong? Is it because I'm trying to get a deal? It shouldn't be like this. The real products don't match the photos at all. It appears that replicating the success of Pinduoduo in the Chinese domestic market may not be easy for Temu. At the same time, the regulatory environment in the US has become increasingly stringent since 2023. There has been growing concerns over strong government interventions in business operations, and any company with a Chinese background may be subject to more scrutiny. This includes potential investigations into Chinese e-commerce platforms and new data compliance requirements, putting pressure on Temu to stay compliant. On top of that, the US has removed the exemption of small package tariffs. Previously, package value under a certain amount, example under $800, were exempt from tariffs. With this exemption removed, even small packages will be subject to tariffs, raising the cost of imported goods. This could have a cascading effect on cross-border e-commerce and overseas purchasing. Temu, Shein, and other cross-border platforms now face this new challenge. Temu's expansion to Europe also faces several hurdles. The European Union has a comprehensive tariff policy for goods imported from China. These policies are based on EU's unified tariff system, meaning all goods from China must pay import duties based on the EU's set rates, which vary by product category, material, and purpose. In addition to regular import duties, the EU sometimes impose anti-dumping and anti-subsidy measures on Chinese products to protect local industries from unfair competition. Temu must also compete with major local players like Amazon and eBay in Europe and face strong competition from Shopee and Lazada in Southeast Asia. On top of that, the high cost of cross-border logistics and supply chains add to the pressure. For Temu, expanding globally is proving to be a challenging task. However, the primary reason behind the ups and downs of such businesses often lies in China's government regulatory policies. Under the Chinese-style regulation, many Chinese internet companies have experienced alternating periods of success and setbacks. Some view this as an inevitable result of policy regulations, while others believe it's point to more complex government intervention. The Chinese market itself is not without its challenges. In the rapidly changing regulatory environment, internet companies often face tests from policies related to common prosperity and anti-monopoly and platform economics. Particularly since around 2020, the Chinese government has started a series of regulatory efforts targeting the internet industry. For example, Alibaba was heavily investigated for suspected monopoly practices. Ant Group's highly anticipated IPO was halted due to regulatory concerns, and Didi Xuxing faced frequent regulatory issues regarding data security and privacy after its overseas listings. Meanwhile, ByteDance products like TikTok and Toutiao continue to face scrutiny on content regulation and data protection, while Tencent, despite its large business empire, faces strict requirements in areas like gaming and social platforms. Meituan also faces increasing market regulation in its food delivery and in-store services. At this point, experts argue that the relationship between Chinese companies and the CCP model of development cannot be ignored. In the CCP system, the connection between big entrepreneurs and the government are well known. From figures like Jack Ma and Pony Ma to founders across various industries, no one can truly remain independent. Even if Huang Zhen is not directly involved in daily operations, it doesn't mean he can avoid connections with China's regulatory framework. On one hand, he needs the government's tacit approval to maintain a stability of Pinduoduo's domestic business. On the other hand, his overseas expansion relies heavily on China's supply chain support. This supply chain, in turn, is still controlled by the Chinese government. If a company grows large but fails to demonstrate enough political correctness or cooperation, the regulatory authorities can easily find problems to address. This is why many internet giants choose to maintain a low profile and cooperate subtly with the government. This is the absurdity of Chinese system, where a company's fate often depends on the decisions of certain departments or leaders. If the capital is well connected to the government, the company can enjoy smooth sailing, but if the wind changes, it could face a full shutdown. Like Huang Zhen's fluctuating wealth, it can rise dramatically or fall sharply. In China, it is difficult to see a transparent and stable policy system. In addition, the internet platform plus e-commerce high growth model in China often finds itself in gray areas, such as product quality disputes, intellectual property violations, false advertising, and conflicts over profit distribution between businesses and platforms. Although Pinduoduo's rapid expansion through its focus on lower-tier markets and its low-price strategy, it's inevitably faced questions regarding counterfeit goods, knockoffs, and a complex legal environment. According to publicly available information, Pinduoduo is involved in a significant number of potential legal risk, around 56,000 risk-related entries, 105 court judgments, more than 16,000 litigation-related items, over 20,000 court hearing announcements, and over 3,000 cases filed. While many of these entries likely involve customer protection issues or merchant disputes, the overall legal exposure is considerable. China's increasing regulatory scrutiny of the internet sector with policies like platform anti-monopoly and consumer protection laws adds another layer of complexity. Under the pressure of political shifts and the Chinese regulatory framework, no platform can guarantee smooth sailing. On top of that, the frequent unpredictability of change in regulatory policies can catch companies off guard, often before they have time to adapt. Operating in this environment requires companies to carefully navigate between capital demands and regulatory limits. Experts have commented that Huangjin's shrinking wealth and Temu's struggles overseas are part of the broader survival challenge faced by Chinese companies in a turbulent environment. This is not just about fluctuating numbers. It reflects a combination of factors such as the global economic downturn, reduced consumer spending, intense international competition, tightening policies, and a subdued capital market. Companies that once soared due to market advantages and favorable policies now face a rapidly changing environment full of uncertainties. These companies must compete with global industry leaders and deal with various compliance challenges while simultaneously navigating the complex and often unpredictable policies of the Chinese government. The pressure to survive is comparable to walking on a tightrope. Each period of rapid growth and every dip into crisis reflects not just business success or failure, but a broader picture of an era marked by confusion and instability. Discussions in forums have pointed out that the capital market slowdown is a significant challenge for the internet sector, forcing many entrepreneurs who once thrived to face decline in market value and shrinking fortunes. Huangjin is among those affected by these challenges.